Welcome, brothers. Welcome, sisters. Welcome to our program On Target. As usual, as soon as we start this program, you can pick up a telephone and give us a call. We never have a subject matter. We speak about anything. Politics, religion, socioeconomic issues, any issue trending, any topical issue of the day. But most important, you can introduce your own subject matter. Your own subject matter. And you can even introduce topics that you would like to speak on. We give our opinion on any issues we are comfortable with, particularly politics. And it doesn't matter which side of the political fence you are free to make your contributions. We don't like rules, but we encourage people to respect one another. It doesn't matter how you speak. Once we could cipher out what you want to see, you are welcome. We do not have the means yet to take on sign language. We wish we could. So all and sundry is welcome to our program. The number to call is 4420175. We encourage people to call and punch. We have 1 hour. You have an opportunity to rebut. So just call and make your point. If you want me to answer questions, ask the questions, and I may answer them after you leave. So that's important. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, and we're on RealFM 91.9. We ask questions, and one of the questions we would ask, recently, the Prime Minister of Grenada, Dickon Mitchell, was out of the country for an extended time. Some people say it's about 2 weeks. Well, 2 weeks is a long time for anybody prime minister to be out of a country. 2 weeks is a long time. And the information on the ground is sketchy. I've been asking some of the hardline NDC members, and they don't know. And when they're in that position, sometimes they get angry with you because they don't know where the Prime Minister was, how long he away. They don't know. What countries did the Prime Minister visit over the last 2 weeks? Because it seems that he was out of the country for 2 weeks. I asked one brother, Theobald and Raoud, do you believe we should have a press conference? Should the Prime Minister provide information on his whereabouts? He agreed with me. But the Prime Minister of Grenada and the NDC new policy is information is on a need-to-know basis. So we have to ask. We have to ask regular. They're not even answering questions in Parliament. So we can't say they go answer in Parliament. They throw the Public Service Commission under the truck. They say they must answer the question for themselves. So the Public Service Commission could look out. We will be asking the questions on the public and in social media to you. I don't think it's fair, but that is what the government say. You're responsible, so you answer your question for yourself. Culture man, you could give me a shout, man. Tell me if you know where the Prime Minister was. What country he visited in the last 2 weeks? Do you believe it is important that he should provide some explanation to the public? Do you believe the journalists that the Prime Minister identified as good journalists? How you think they're feeling? You don't feel they should ask him where he come out? Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good.
Your family all right?
Great.
All right. But I want to ask a question. You might sound dumb, eh?
Go ahead, still ask it.
Are we still under the democratic system?
Of course, the main fact that I on radio talking, you know we're under democratic system.
well, yeah, that could be half of it. But where is the other half?
During the revolution, the man come for me long time. Heavy man.
Over the years, I'm growing accustomed to hearing what is going on with our country's monies, what is going on with health, what is going on with everybody. You hear the ministers of different ministries coming out and say something now and then, so they're keeping us posted on what is taking place. Nowadays, I ain't not everybody wild all over the place. So I wonder if we're still under the democratic system.
Well, sometimes you find government that trying a different strategy. And if they could get away with it, it's all well and good. So people have to constantly ask in the question and appealing to the members of the National Democratic Congress who was going around like turkey cock, as if they are the moral custodians of this country. Right now they take the bush. So we have to call them out.
I'm confused. I think we need to know what is taking place with our country, because we are the ones paying the tax for them to spend to take care of the country, so they have to tell us how we money spending. I'm concerned about it.
Yeah, the Prime Minister seems out of the country for 2 weeks, and he had a whole entourage coming to welcome him on the airport. I don't know if he was in honeymoon. I don't know if he was in Barbados in his house. We understand that he has a rented apartment in Barbados that he keeps permanently. That is what is rumored. You can't get the truth from them. So we ask this question hoping they will be provoked to give us some explanation.
Keep up the good work, buddy.
Yes, we have to ask.
Yeah.
You see, we cannot turn back the hand of the clock. Now, it is good and comfortable for members of the National Democratic Congress and strong supporters of the NDC to believe what they're doing is right. But 5, 10 years or 15 years when they lose election, because how politics go, you will lose. The next government would use what they do as a template. And government might go away for 3 weeks. And then they say, well, when the Prime Minister go for 2 weeks, you didn't say nothing. What you complaining about now? So it's important, if we don't want to turn the advances that we have made in this country back, for us to ask these questions. So the Prime Minister of Grenada and members of the National Democratic Congress feel some moral responsibility to answer them. And these journalists that claim they identify as the top journalists, they have to recognize your significance would be diluted. Your professionalism will be questioned. If the Prime Minister of a small country like Grenada go away for 2 weeks and he comes back in the country, no information is provided to the public. The Prime Minister had an entourage on the airport, hugging him up, welcoming him back. One wonder, I thought the Prime Minister get married. I say he gone on a honeymoon. Yes, sir. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, welcome.
I have to ask this question. I listen, I don't know what they have there. If it's Parliament, I don't know what they have there.
Parliament that is on.
And telling Grenadians, the Prime Minister and the opposition leader talking about with the NIS. You go, I reach 60 years, sometimes I don't get nothing, because why? The employee or the employer didn't pay my NIS dues for me, and I reached down to that age, and when the end of the day I didn't get anything. So he was talking about that. Did the leader of government business telling the leader of the opposition, he should shame to come in and say that inside here. Those who they on contract, if they pay their NIS. Mr. Pierre, I want the contract workers to come and say when they was working under Dr. Kip Mitchell, when they go on maternity leave, or if they get sick, if they never get a claim. I want some of them who ever working on contract come on the radio and said that.
But
I want them to come and said that. Because I cannot understand the people who they on contract NIS didn't pay. I want to hear. When they listen to all they think, they're not calling and correct the mistake. So this is my question. I say I want the contract workers and them come out. You have all kind of contract workers, you know. You have nurses contract workers, you have Imani contract workers, you have teachers contract workers, you have all different farming in contract workers. I want to know if the NIS didn't pay, where you come in and say the contract workers and them, NIS didn't pay. Question and answer now. Mr. Pierre, have a blessed day.
Okay, sister. Good day. Good day. Sometimes when you listen to political debate, you have a lot of punches. And the politicians have immunity. You must remember that. I have no immunity on radio. So based upon what I say, I could be taken to task. But in Parliament, there is a level of immunity. So they could say what they want. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hello, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, my brother.
Mr. Pierre, I've seen some kind of activities taking place with the crash program. I see a woman who working permanent with government and the school as a cook on holidays and been employed on the crash program. I find that is advantage. If you have people who ain't doing nothing and they need something to go by. Now what I realize is victimization taking place. You know, when I watch the gangs and I watch the people who are on the gang, it's like NNP is skim out from these programs. So NNP don't have to eat. They don't have children they have to feed. You know, come on. Mr. Know-how, you just call every day. I want you to call Mr. Pierre and ask him if that is fair for the Grenadian people who pay the tax monies.
But you call
have to watch that victimization go by. It advantage, it hurting, Mr. Pierre, well hurting to see people that are working already, home on holiday and receiving a salary and still on the program.
Maybe they don't
have... watch people who work in Mr. Pierre.
Caller, in that area, maybe they don't have enough NDC to get. So they have to take out... Maybe they don't have enough NDC in that area who is interested in that work to work. So they have to get some that work in to do the job. You see, we are underestimating the policies of the NDC. The NDC policies, political vengeance and victimization.
Yes,
and
Mr.
who
Pierre,
are affected most by it? Well, there are people taking too long to understand that. The NDC always like that. This period is the worst form of the NDC. But they always like that. No matter what they say, is what they do that count.
I mean, in NNP time, I look at the people who it was mixed up. It didn't have no NDC and NNP. Everybody in the neighborhood when that time come, eating our food.
But then the NNPs who have 5 and 6 fortnight. If the NDC are 1 and 2, they're giving the members the 1 and 2. I mean, it is so clear. It is so blatant. Mr. Tillman Thomas said that is rebalancing. St. Jude said that is realignment. Willie said that is collateral damage. And the president of the teachers union said fire them.
Mr. Pierre, what hurting me the most? This man who does call and say Kit Mitchell is a wicked man. I can see how Kit Mitchell wicked.
Caller, the individual that calling is an ordinary individual that is not in charge of policy. What hurting me is when Mr. Tillman Thomas say it is rebalancing. What hurts me is when Willie say it is collateral damage. What hurting me is when number 10 jump the fence with drama. These are the ones that could make decisions. We seem to be getting angry with ordinary men on the street. They are not making policy. They're not the decision makers. They're just fighting to defend the party. So we're not
Mr.
supposed to
Pierre.
fall for that.
Mr. Pierre, the man who cut in, he come in about 5 o'clock. When about 5:30, this man don't walk, and the foreman can't control him. They're quarreling for the work. I listened to them this morning, confusion. I don't understand this thing, Mr. Pierre.
Well, it's going to happen because the NDC is spiteful. And they're creating discord, disharmony, and fracture on the ground. And this is the rippling effect of it. And the spillover of restorative justice. And it just
We time
started.
now. We time now.
Yeah, that is what they
password.
yeah.
We time now.
Yeah.
You have any we time now in Grenada?
It's unfortunate
Everybody
because
supposed
it's
to
a small
enjoy the
nation.
wealth of the country.
And yeah.
Now, once that people, even though you didn't vote for NDC or you didn't want, but you as a Grenadian, you have a right to enjoy the wealth of your country. You're paying tax. Your foreparents pay tax. So now is the time for everybody to enjoy the wealth. Not once that people, green jersey or yellow jersey, everybody are Grenadian people. When NNP, they didn't have that.
But remember,
Green and
NDC
yellow.
say the good people are dealing with. You forgot what the NDC ministers are saying. The Minister of Labor was laughing when people lose their job. They said the good people.
And when you look at the kind of people, they're laughing NNP, they're laughing as we are stupid people. We dunce, we dotish, we
The
don't have sense.
motivational speaker says nasty people. And a financial institution was funding him to be
Mr.
that
Pierre,
despicable
I hope,
about individuals.
Mr. Pierre, I hope Grenadian people watching the victimization that taking place under this regime. It's worse than the past. In 2008, it's worse. They make Tillman and them look good.
Yeah, Mr. Tillman
This
look as
past
a
administration
saint.
make Tillman and them look good.
Yeah.
Because he didn't have that under Tillman. He have a gang now which going and drop letters in telescope. Now what's letters, grand like letter, mail, and dropping it in your home. That your utility bills there, electricity bill, your now what's a bill. I know people from the post office to drop this bill, but they have a special gang that they employ. And if you look at the two persons that supported them. Mr. Pierre, have a nice afternoon.
Yes,
I'm listening
scholar.
to the program.
Yeah. This is one of the challenges we have. This is what the men in the diaspora don't know. When Deacon is in gala in the United States, Canada, and England, this is what the men in the diaspora don't know. But don't worry. One day you're going to end up in Grenada and you're going to see the effects of restorative justice on the ground. And the saddest part, the government restorative justice policy is affecting people in the lower income group, the physically challenged, the elderly, and disadvantaged children. That is why I always describe the 9 members of the National Democratic Congress as vultures, because they prey on the weak. It's only vultures do that. You know, we are supposed to help the weak, defend the weak, protect the weak. Yes, scholar, welcome.
Yeah, good afternoon.
Yes,
Mr.
scholar,
Pierre.
welcome. Yeah.
How everything?
Great, man.
Mr. Pierre, it's not easier that you support someone, and because you support someone, the person win the seat, and the party last election, and because they support over you, they are being victimized, and for you to stand with them in the good and the bad time, you turn your back on them. You turn them back on them and leaving them to face the hardship and the difficulties under the previous government. And you did it because you said you have a family to take care of. But even you was in a better living condition than those people that are getting victimized now. Because when time one person was working in that home, only the mother, the father absent, and because they give you the vote, now they are out of a job. But you know, turn back on them and you end up now on the same party that used to criticize and say all things about them. So the people now that vote for you have to face the wrath of this government while you're enjoying your time on the other end. What that is, that you call it, that is ungrateful to the supporters and the voters that vote for you to for you to win in your area where you run from. It's not easy, and I do believe, brother Mr. Pay, you have to stand. I stand with the people. When I stand with the people say, "No, well, in the good and the bad time, she was there with me." But when you turn your back on them and do it because the hard time take you, but your hard time was not as hard as them who are going through these difficult times. They're out of a job, they had to try to send to school, and they don't know where next bread come from. But you know you're bread water now, so you forget these people. You forget them people. So if you have a relationship.
Color, yes, color. Color, you have to understand that great sacrifices has been made by men all through history to fight for people, struggling people, marginalized people, people in the lower income group. One of the strategies of other people is to buy people who are struggling. So a man is struggling for people in the lower income group, the proletariats. People are suffering, people with a cause. And those who is struggling against, one of the strategies that are used is to buy their leaders. And this is as old as mankind itself. Sometimes we don't have enough appreciation for the people who struggle with us and realize the great sacrifice they have made for themselves and their family, have made great sacrifice to struggle for the cause. And some people are prepared to sell out the struggle. It's hard. If the word on the ground and what is being circulating around, $160,000 for one person is perhaps a salary bigger than the Prime Minister in a year. If you're working for $12,000 a month, who works for that in Grenada? Maybe people in the bank, people in Grenada Cocoa Association, maybe Nutmeg Association, big companies, lawyers and other executive officers and CEOs. And even that would not reach $160,000 per annum. So if there is any truth, and we're looking for answers, if there is any truth in the rumors that $160,000, a paid trip to England, one to America, a job, and position for people of the family, that is a serious package. And it's a package, it seems, that some cannot refuse. That should make us have great love and appreciation for those who remain in the struggle. That's why slavery lasts so long, you know. Some of the leaders was purchased. Some of the leaders was killed. Some of the leaders were blackmailed. Some of the leaders were set up. And they die in disgrace. Simply because they stood up for a cause. And you're going to find that happening. People have to prepare. When the going get tough, the tough get going. And while it is extremely tough now, for a lot of people in rural Grenada who depended on these part-time jobs to make a living. Mr. Tillman Thomas call it eater food. The NDC says handout. So they decided not to provide these assistance for a certain group of people. The people that the motivational speaker called nasty people. The Minister of Foreign Affairs, he labeled them Grenadians, you know. And that is the situation with this government. That's why I said before, this is the worst government I've met in the last 8 decades with a hostile policy towards people in the lower income group. It does not mean that a lot of Grenadians wouldn't like this government. They like the government because the government gave a tax break and millions of dollars stayed in the pockets of individuals. The government have people traveling. They're not conservative in traveling, they're very liberal. And people are enriching themselves just by traveling. They have an opportunity to see the world. I understand one of them went to Brazil and they bring their spouse with them. It's a new time. They are top members of the top echelons of government that sees the government coffers now as a supermarket. So they could go and get big loans and all from assistance. And it's unfortunate that the government decided to take the little that the people in the lower income group has. We had the sister from Union. Well, the month don't end yet. So we don't know if she get the money they give her back because they took her out on the program. We have the other sister with the white cane. And this is the government I have. A government that is extremely insensitive. And some of the militant members want these people to starve. They say let them go and pound stone by the river. When these things filter down in the communities, I think is most unfortunate. It's going to result in social decadence. It's going to result in increasing crime and other social issues. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre?
Yes, caller, welcome.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, my brother, welcome to you.
Listen to me now.
Go right ahead.
Yes, speaking about the poor and the vulnerable again. But as I tell you, the people of this country owe the taxpayers of this country owe the poor and vulnerable nothing. They had 40 years to contribute to their well-being. They didn't do it, so the taxpayers owe them nothing. Mr. Pierre?
Caller, you are saying that the taxpayers of this country owe them nothing.
No.
Caller.
Mr. Pierre?
Caller.
Mr. Pierre,
Caller. That's a strong statement you make. Let me ask you on it.
Yeah.
I know a woman with 10 children. She have had 10 children. She worked on the estate all her life. She did not get money. She paid Provident Fund. And her pension, as a result of Provident Fund, is $127 a month. $127 a month. She's caller. She's
Let me tell you, any person what was in the Provident Fund, they come under NS.
Caller. I say to you, watch me. Do some research. Don't just come on. Caller.
Was in the Provident Fund.
That is why I could come on radio. That is why I could come on radio and say this is the worst government that I know. That is why I could call these ministers vultures. Because I know they come from poor parentage. This is why when I see them, scholar, I see vultures who prey on the weak. Scholar, you didn't hear the girl from Union?
Mr. Pierre.
Did you hear the sister from Union?
Mr. Pierre, the NNP government, they're using the
The NNP not in power now.
They use the poor people to get them millions and millions of dollars in their pocket. They use the poor and vulnerable. They use to
That is what they got. That is what this group of individuals, this group of vultures we have running the country. That is the rippling effect of it. They make their hardline supporters start to hate people and wish them bad on the ground.
Nobody.
That is what you're doing.
Than NNP, Mr. Pierre. Yeah. Mr. Pierre, nobody in this country is more vulgar than the NNP. The NNP use the poor people to get in power.
By giving out 10,000 toilets? By increasing the pay to $400?
Huh?
By increasing the income that comes to them to $400? By providing 10,000 toilets for people in this country? By providing assistance for the needy children?
Mr. Pierre, the NNP government, they spent 9.4 years crucifying the poor and vulnerable people.
How did they do that?
4 months.
Colin,
4 months.
How did they do that?
They give them 150 for 9.25 years. They give them $300. When the election comes out to get a vote, what they do? They give them 150, but they still don't get it. Because the people and them realize that's how they're getting it upon them. So, Mr. Pierre,
I thank you, my brother. And these things, I always say that the previous government did a lot without providing information for it. And then the NDC continue with their lies in the lab. They made lies like a pile. They promised these people in 2008. Yes, caller, welcome. Caller, welcome. All right, we lost this caller. They promised. Yes, caller, welcome. Yes, caller, welcome.
Why we check this Jamaica gang game this stupid?
Let me say something to you. Why don't you tell me instead what the government did for the people in the lower income group? That would be better. Tell me what are some of the things the government did for the lower income group. This is why these individuals could challenge you all, because you all don't know what was done for the lower income group. So let me tell you now what was done. The previous NDC government in 2008 promised to raise the income of the people in that lower income group to $400. They used an elderly man from St. Patrick, which was most distasteful, to advertise their program, and they did not give the people. Instead, they removed people from the program, and people shed tears in the street. That was in 2008. In 2008, the NDC promised to give the Imani $1,000. They lied to them. They closed down the program and they fired them. In 2008-2013 period, the NDC were not able to pay claims. Unpaid claims in the treasury was over 110 million. The economy was in free fall, and they were selling government assets to meet current expenditure. Yes, caller, welcome.
Hey, good afternoon, Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah. Okay. I will not criticize the previous caller.
Tell us what is it? Yeah.
Right. So definitely give my rundown.
Yeah.
No, I want to say thanks to the NNP, because you know why? The reason why they last so long is because they studied the Bible and they realized that the poor will always be amongst us. Sometimes you don't cause yourself to be poor. Sometimes situation bring you and make you poor. So therefore, the government have a responsibility to help the poor and the vulnerable, like the toilet and bathroom. Right, the improvement of the 150, the gangs where they put out, the brigades, those who working on houses with poor people can't afford to pay. The government come together and they put people in place and they pay poor people. So people at the end of the month or the fortnight, you can gain something. You understand? And then sometimes you don't hear people talking about, you're thinking about poor people. When you go in America or England, what's happening? The social spending, the state pick up. The American government, the England government have welfare government social plan for poor people. So even the churches have things for poor people. So you can go into the church, you can go to the Catholic, the Adventist, the Anglican. You go into the churches and you're getting food stuff. And some of these food stuff coming back to feed some of the poor people what are in Grenada here as well. So let me just run down the poor people and just defending our government for fighting poor people and then care less about poor people. But let me be our brother's keeper and let me help a poor man to rise up and alleviate poverty. Look at one of the things what government help poor people again with the Imani program. The Imani program was part of an initiative to help alleviate poor people out of poverty, to get a second chance. Sometimes you have your education, but the time to get a job you cannot get it. So the Imani is there to help you. Yeah, the Fly program, all them other programs and them is to help you. But then when we get and we're running down our government who help poor people, poor people on the SEEDS program, who is doctors, lawyers, teachers, because of the SEEDS program, get a little SEEDS money to go to school, pay for the education, help them pay for this, help them to get a little food so they can learn, to help. I don't call it not a handout, I will call that a hand up. To help face life, to help get a second chance, to help to become somebody in life. And I find these people who the past administration help out, they should come out and talk and say, look at what the Imani has done for me. Look at what the SEEDS money has done for my children. Look at what has done to help me. Again, bank manager, schools principal, and you could testify of these things. So let me don't look at the SEEDS program and all these other things as handout, but let us look at it as a hand up. Yeah, that's my contribution.
Thank you very much, Colin. And I see the government, the ministers as vultures. If all these individuals come from the proletariats, all of them, they could identify with their parents being poor and low income. They managed to get government scholarship. Most of them got government scholarship. Got an education through taxpayers' money. And come back. And the level of hostility towards people in the lower income group is unacceptable. So I see them as vultures who prey on the less fortunate. That's one of the reasons I don't care about reparation, The black man sold us in slavery. The black man was selling slaves for hundreds of years before the white man gone by. I have nothing against the white man. And I don't care about reparation. And too many times I see in our society, when one of our own in a better position, they turn on the less fortunate. And that is what the NDC is doing now. That is what they did in 1990. They fired the estate workers, including Shorty, Lord Tall. I use his name because a lot of people in St. Andrews and Grenada knew him. He used to be on the stage He lost his job then. He cried. A businessman in Grenville gets sorry for him and employ him. And he sung a song in gratitude and tribute Mr. Digale Workers. In 2008, after the NDC sat down and planned lies, they went back and do the exact thing. In 2022, they apologized to the Imani. They said, what we did to you was politically wrong. And immediately after election, they threatened the Imanis. And they believe that they're in some super class. And I see them as vultures. Why vultures? Because they prey on the weak. Politicians are supposed to help the marginalized. The policies of a government supposed to be cognizant, they're supposed to be sensitive, championing the cause of the less fortunate in the country. And this government is a greedy government. They're using the money for GDP for their members. They're traveling excessively. They're not conservative in their spending. And they do not hesitate to trample on the elderly, the marginalized, disadvantaged children, even the physically challenged. The sister from Union was crying out. I spoke about the sister with the white cane. There are others, I wouldn't call their name, because some of them afraid their relatives are victimized. And the brothers in the diaspora who supporting and giving this government energy, something have to be wrong with you. It appears you in America and you want to give the impression it is done. But we know some people in America are struggling too. We know that 11% of the population in America lives in poverty. Some of them line up early morning to get free medical health care. Some of them have degrees and they're sleeping on the street. We know that. We know we have Grenadians in the poorhouse in America. You notice they don't talk about that. And we have some Grenadians that life is so tough, they can't even think about coming home. Yes, caller, welcome.
Mr. Pierre, I'd like to call back.
Yeah, man, nothing wrong
But
with
then, when I hear this guy before the last caller, they encourage me to call back.
The guy is only a reflection of the NDC. Sometimes we take in pot shot. Are these ordinary individuals that fighting to defend the Kobo? Let's go after the Kobo.
Yeah.
Those who attacking the ordinary man is not this guy. Mr. Thomas say is rebalancing. He is one of them. St. Jude says realignment. He is one of them. But we're going after the ordinary man, and this is what's going to cause fracture in the village.
Yeah, Mr. Pierre, I don't want to speak about the policies. When you look at the policies of NNP in government, the policy always there is to help the poor class of people. When you check it, Mr. Pierre, concerning, I take him back down memory lane. In 1984, right? When Dr. Mitchell was the Minister of Works and Honorable Greg Bowen was the General Manager of Green Lake. You know the situation what is what happened in the country, children when they come from school. They have to do the homework, say about 3 o'clock, because school is closed about 3 o'clock. They have to make sure they do the homework. And because of the vision of Dr. Mitchell, while he was the Minister of Works, Gregory Bowen, they electrified the rural area. Right? People now have current in the home. They could have fridge, get cold water, have television. Look again, with water, we bring pipe on water right in the home. At the time, before you go to school, you might go and bring about 3 buckets or 4 buckets of water for mommy and then we get to wash and cook food for you to get. Come back again when checking with the Imani program again, Mr. Pierre. That Imani program was one of the best programs that took place in Grenada under the NNP government. When you check again, Mr. Pierre, with the young people in sports of the National Stadium, the National Stadium raised Grenada name in the world. We had this in our Grenada. They raised Grenada name. When you check again, Mr. Pierre, a development in the bus terminal, all that benefit because the poor people used to come in town and the simple price to be in the market selling in the hot sun. Selling hot sun. The government did. They developed the market. They did that. Again, when you check again with the road network, it is also benefiting for the poor people again. There are some homes up there where some people, when they used to leave to go to work, they have to put on a shoe and leave it somewhere and then next shoe they put it. But the government bring the road right to people home. Right? The housing again. Right? Remember what happened in 2008 when the China were given 2,000 houses, and what the minister of housing said, Grenada don't need that. Grenada give us the money and we go and you give us 1,000. And income NNP back in government, the same 1,000 houses, 1,000 houses that the NDC government last, they get it back. More homes for the people of Great Caribbean people that need a home and to have their own key to open their own home. So there's a lot of development that came under the NNP government because the NNP policy is to help people develop life. So when it comes for helping and developing the poor class of people, NNP did that. Because when they talk about NNP don't use. They help the people and what they made promise to the people and they fulfill the promise. I mean, even the man who was doing this thing with $400, that man died and he didn't get nothing. They were removing him from the program. I know the man good. Right? So Mr. Pierre, have a blessing.
Yes, scholar, thank you. And I think I know of no program and no policy instituted by the National Democratic Congress targeting low-income people to improve their situation. No program. If you ask me programs that was instituted by the NNP, I will tell you over 3,000 young people was able to find jobs, a second chance, and an opportunity to further education and preserve their dignity because of the Imani program. The majority of people, maybe 70-80% of the Imani program were women. And then government come back with projects targeting males alone. The idea of building 10,000 toilets for people who did not have toilet inside, I hailed as a masterpiece. The most amount of scholarship in Grenada in any one period of time was done under the NNP program. And every minister of the NNP, every minister, their behavior, their attitude did not bring the party into any disrepute. And all the ministers during NNP period, all the women, all the men, I sense a great sense of humility and compassion, and they was very sensitive to the needs of people in the lower income group. And that's what politicians ought to be. I know of no policy under NDC that target low income. I know the NDC cut down Belleville and Nutmeg and plant banana. Irrespective of all the hue and cry from agriculture and extension officers. The most massive rural infrastructure program that went on, reaching every creek and corner in Grenada, was the policies. So when a government come into power and the government is hostile against low-income group, and as a result of the government hostility, the government political activists is propagating and encouraging victimization, one have to be concerned. If we are not concerned to check this thing in its infancy stage, it's going to get out of hand. It's going to end in violence, antisocial behavior. You sowing discord in the community. Some of the language used by the ministers of government and close associate of the directorship of the NDC is unacceptable. It's not acceptable. It's objectionable language. You can't call Grenadier nasty people. Ministers can be saying we the good people. Ministers can be calling people needy and greedy in a very derogative manner. It's not good. You don't have to believe me. Go back and listen to the address by the Teachers Union president in May Day. Listen to his address. Go and listen to the motivational speaker that the bank is sponsoring and other government agencies are paying. He's making a big money. Listen to them. Ask number 10, were you paid? Were you pimped? Or are you a Trojan horse? Yes, caller, welcome.
Pierre. Mr. Pierre.
Yes, caller, welcome.
When you look at Honorable Kit Mitchell, he's a blessed man. He looks young. He looks promising. Look at that man. You could see all the blessings from God upon that man. You understand? He looks shining. You know why is that? Because he has done good for the poor class of people in Grenada. Look at the money people. They was bright people, but they need an opportunity. He made an opportunity for them. They elevate themselves. They make themselves man and woman. I want this scholar to call and say what good that NDC had done in 2008 for the whole class of people and the underprivileged people. The people who had the education and didn't have the privilege to own the education. But Mr. Kit Mitchell come and he see that and he give them the opportunity to own the education.
And they're angry for that, you know. They're really angry.
This is what they call blessings.
And I think that is why they so...
Call. Mr. Pierre, I want that man to call and say one good thing that NDC had done for the poor class of people in Grenada. Let him call now.
I think a lot of them is angry with the Prime Minister, the ex-Prime Minister. Yes, caller. I think a lot of people who believe that they're in some status position, they're angry with Kit Mitchell for the policies that he had supporting the poor and marginalized. It's the same way they used to go after Gary. The same way they used to go after Gary. 28 schools in 13 and a half years. Independence. Land for the Landless program. St. George's University. A whole set of scholarship. The beautification program. When Gary planted flowers in Granite Town, they criticized Gary so much. He got him. He planted banana in Granite Town by 1910. They say Gary mind bad as Granite Town fig leaf. Because sometimes the level of criticism gets after the leader at a period of time. Yes, caller, welcome.
Yeah.
And caller, you are last caller, so you have the punch.
Yeah. So in 84, under the last previous caller we called a while ago, stating all what he stated a while ago. Last time they didn't have no electricity. The water reached high up last time. My mother takes money and they tried to bring water to her home when the NDC come in 2008. They originally take the water from out and main, from Beaton to come inside RealFM, and that's how we. So at the end of the day, I'm not saying they didn't do anything all the way, but the most important thing I know about is the most of the work what do in Grenada is under Dr. Keith Claudius Mitchell.
Yes, scholar, thank you. And you are the last scholar for the day, and we highly appreciate you. And we encourage this discussion. This is our history. This is facts. And when we say things, we open it up for challenge. I've said before on a number of occasions, I see the members of the NDC as vultures. No government must not have a policy that is hostile to people in the lower income group. The rich man or the well-educated man don't need much from you. The people who need your help and support is the proletariats, the people in the lower income group, the marginalized, the less fortunate. And the NDC have a track record of hostility against these people. And they have no justification for that. And I say, return the $150 you take from the people and give them the retroactive pay for it. You're too bad-minded. Or give us economic justification or moral justification why you deny them $150 when you promise them, when you quote the World Bank that they will get 650. Why did you remove 150 while you're using the opportunity to squander this country's money in reckless spending? And I believe, Mr. Prime Minister, you have an obligation to tell us where you was for the last 2 weeks. We're back with you again tomorrow between 12 and 1. Thank you very much.